It's Monika Buerger and Elizabeth here. Hello, world. We are here and excited to talk with all of you about some amazing stocking stuffers to build and brand your practice for 2022. Woohoo! Can you believe we're heading to 2022? Crazy bones. So first of all, as always, I want to thank ChiroSecure for giving us this platform to get this information out to all of you to help you build your practice and influence the world even on a bigger mass scale. So we are going to dive in and dig into some fun stuff. And everybody, Elizabeth, you want to say hi? Elizabeth is very sad today because she had all these lights that were twinkling and ready to rock and roll, and her battery died or is dying. So anyway, so first of all, how can we help you stuff your stocking for 2022 and build and brand your practice? First of all, it starts with you. You, and you. Take time for yourself. So what I've been telling my gang that I mentor, I want you to learn 4 R's, especially on weekends. One thing that I advocate is unplug from the world for at least 1 day a week. All right. Kids and animals pick up your energy like that. All right. They've got you pegged the minute you walk in the room. So if we're not on point, if we don't have enough fudge room and neuroadaptability and we're burned out, they pick up on it. They're going to pick up on our attention. So being self-aware and putting some reserve in your own bank account is not selfish, it is essential. So unplug. I really advocate everybody unplug for 1 day, get off of social media and rest, reset, rise, and repeat. Because if you take time to rest, reset your mind, body, and soul, you'll have the energy, the fudge room, the neuroadaptability to rise and repeat this day after day. So you'll be able to rock and roll and ready to build your practice. It's this energetic exchange that we have. The world is all energy based. And when we don't have enough energy, the universe is not going to bring you those building blocks and bring you those people to your office because it knows you're too tired. You don't have that bandwidth to serve these people. So, number 1 stocking stuffer, rest, reset, rise, repeat, and unplug. Okay, so that's number 1. And don't feel guilty about it. All right. So next, take a look at some of your simplest business practices. Number 1, the first call. The first call a patient gets, the first impression of your office. It's like that show. What's that show? The Bachelor and the Bachelorette. You know, the first impression rose. So what is your first impression rose to your community? When they call, what message do they get? If you want to build and brand as a family wellness-based, pediatric, pregnancy-based, whatever your practice paradigm you want it to be, does that message they get right when they call, if they're not getting a live person, they're getting a message, does that reflect your brand? Is your message just very general? Hi, you've reached First Family Chiropractic or First Step Chiropractic. We're not able to answer your phone. Call us back between da-da-da. Or maybe something along the lines like, hello, you've reached First Family Chiropractic, where we specialize in family, children, and pregnancy. Put a little bit more oomph into your message. So that's one tidbit. Along the lines of that first call, when your staff answers the phone, they're the first contact point, right? A simple question to pivot your brand, pivot your message is, say it's a new patient. Yes, I'd like to make an appointment with Dr. Buerger. Fantastic. Would that be for you or your child? My child? Just planting the seed in the brain that, yeah, we're open to see children in our practice. So little things like this, little tweaks, little things can be the big things. All right. So get your messages in order right when that person calls, and here's your message on your recording. Get your staff on point to say, yeah, Awesome. We would love to see you. Would that appointment be for you or your child? Okay, right there. Pivoting your message. All right. Your paperwork. Yeah, your paperwork. Not how so much how it looks. We want it to look nice and in nice form and so forth. But what does it reflect about you? Couple things. Your pediatric paperwork in particular, even my adult paperwork, because my practice is largely based on, it's not a musculoskeletal based practice, right? I have a very well entrenched wellness practice. So half of my practice is neurologically based pediatric disorders. I don't like to use that word disorders, but struggles. And the other half of my practice is adult and pediatric chronic health issues. So both forms of my paperwork talk about a birth history. And why I think that's important is, as chiropractors, we are looking at the 5 T's, right? Trauma, toxins, thoughts, technology, tethered restriction, these stressors. Was there perhaps a biomechanical stressor from the birthing process, where there was a C-section involved or difficult labor, difficult delivery, so a biomechanical stressor, or a physical or an emotional stressor, like a lot of prenatal stress. That sets the tone if this is your bag of chips, right? You got to roll by your BOC, your bag of chips, whatever works for you. But if you want to create this, we're talking about a PEDS show here. If you want to create a family wellness PEDS pregnancy-based practice, get those questions on paper. That just makes people, as you're going through the history with them, it makes them think. Maybe they are pregnant, the adult patient is pregnant when they're coming in. Maybe they want to have more children. It starts setting the tone for getting them to think about what you offer and why. Why are you interested in this information? And how does it fit into your practice paradigm? The other good question I like to have on my my PEDS history form is a question about their academic learning environment. Do they go to a traditional school setting? Do they go to a private school, a charter school? Do they homeschool? Not only for me, because I deal with so many sensory dysregulated little fiddle farts. It's a concern of mine to see what their learning environment is like from a sensory perspective. But it's also for me to know, let's say they're homeschooled. I have a lot of homeschool co-ops out here in Idaho where I'm based. When you're starting a practice, this can be was a great jumping off point in my California practice and my Idaho practice, where I would say as a part of my community outreach service and my donation back to the community, I adopt a school every school year. I don't personally have time for that anymore in my practice now, but this is how I built a lot of my practice. I adopted a school or two or a classroom for that school year. And what this looked like was I might go in and do educational talks to the kiddos in that classroom. Or one year I did an educational talk, and then it was for a second grade school teacher. This was in California. And all the other second grade school teachers heard about me doing this presentation to her classroom. And they're like, we want you to do it for all the second grade school classes. And then it got to be for the whole school. And then it got to be multiple schools, and it builds from there. Once you get in there and you build your name. So having this question on your questionnaire helps you get that connection. You might find out that this parent is actually the head of one of your homeschool co-ops in town. And you might want to say, you know what, I would love to do an educational segment for your homeschool co-op. And they get to know about chiropractic for kids. and whatever subject matter you might want to go in. Again, BOC, use your BOC, your bag of chips. Do you want to talk about nutrition, chiropractic, do a series? What works in that paradigm? But the other thing that can happen is, and this was a big thing, a really big deal, especially when I transitioned to Idaho, was I adopted a school one year, the first year I was out here. And what we did was we went in and were able to do a whole sensory motor learning talk as a continuing ed class to this junior high. And then I donated to them, to their special education classroom. I donated things like physio balls for the kiddos to sit on. What I call seat cushions. They're vestibular discs for kiddos that can't sit still and that are antsy and so forth. So by getting this information, you can kind of see, maybe are there some connections you can make with that family's school environment, learning environment. And you start getting your name out there and you market it, especially if you want to build a brain-based learning challenges kind of practice. So that question can take you a lot of places. All right. Next, so that's stocking stuffer number 3. So stocking stuffer number 1 was you. Number 2, what is that first call like? What messages do they get from that first call? What impressions do they get? And then what is your paperwork? What pearls can you choose from that paperwork? Fourth impression, fourth stocking stuffer is, what is the impression when they first walk in your office? What does that first rose impression look like? Is it clean? People with kiddos want a clean office. Okay. Is it warm and inviting? What is your staff like? What is the sensory experience like? So many people, including adults, but especially your little fiddle farts, have sensory aversions. Is it too light, too bright, too loud? Do we need to tone it down a little bit? That initial thing when you walk in your door. So I say you and your staff one day should step out of your office, go for a little walk, and then enter your office through the front door like a patient and stop, look, and listen. What does that environment tell you? And then you as the doc, I would do that when your staff is there and things are kind of in motion, and you sneak out and enter yourself as a patient to see what that environment feels like. Now, the other thing that this is probably not going to go over so well, but when I first started in practice, I was given advice to, if you drive a rather nice vehicle, which is fine. You've worked hard, you've got through school, you've been successful, but you might want to park that out around back and not out front, because sometimes taking in people's money for services, which you are well deserved to do so get that mantra out of your head. But people will judge you depending on what you drive, how you look, etc. And they do that about our offices as well. So sometimes if the office is a little bit too upscale looking, that can be a message that if you're asking them to pitch to invest in their health and their child's health at a certain level, that can be sometimes a negative image. Have a nice, clean, inviting, fun environment. Have soothing colors, yes, but having large upscale environments can give that negative message. So just take this into consideration, right? I'm just the messenger, and Elizabeth's just the messenger. We're just trying to help you out here. Now, next stocking stuffer, a kids and family area. If you want to have a family-friendly kiddo fiddle fart based practice, have the space for them. Do you have a hangout for families and kiddos? So I have behind me, this is one of my treatment rooms actually, but when you walk in my office, you have the general waiting area, and then in the back you see a beautiful jungle mural. We call it the jungle. It could probably, when I think about it, I should call it the family hangout. Anyhow, but it is a place for kiddos to hang out, and um, their parents if they want to hang out there too. So it is known, it is seen that because we, we we've gotten over the years, and I'm sure you all have had. I can't find a sitter. Is it okay if I have to bring my child one day? Absolutely. When they come to your office, they see that you are a family-friendly kids office, and all absolutely. We have kiddos hang out there all the time, and better yet, we see so many families, including the kiddos, and it's like, so you're building that message. So have a family fun area. It doesn't have to be huge. I do, suggest that it is kind of off. And if you're working with kiddos, especially if they have sensory expression issues, they can be a little bit less tolerant of environments. So it is kind of a quiet area for themselves, and less disruptive for your general flow for your adult patients. So that's stocking stuffer number, what are we on? 5? Um, Stocking stuffer number 6. What's on your walls? What's that commercial? What's in your wallet, right? Capital One. Okay. Anyway, this is burger brain going crazy. So what's on your walls? What's the message you want to portray? Do you want to portray a musculoskeletal based environment? Do you want to portray a health environment? Um, do you want it to be all chiropractic based messages? Do you want it to be family based messages? I have a little bit of both. I have some traditional paintings that reflect my message. I have a beautiful painting I got of a pregnant woman. I should have taken it off the wall. I could have showed you, but a beautiful painting of a pregnant woman in my hallway because of the pregnancy aspect. I have a beautiful painting of 2 little girls or 2 little sisters in a garden. And then I have my chiropractic messages too. So but my chiropractic messages are based on PEDS and based on a wellness brain-based paradigm rather than pain-based. So look at what's in your wall. What is that message give you? The wall behind me, this is one of my treatment rooms. Obviously, don't take yourself too seriously. If you want to work with families and kiddos, you've got to learn to be, spit on, pooped on, laugh about it. It's all cool beans cafe. So this is one of my higher sensory load rooms, meaning those kiddos that can handle that sensory expressive load love this room. Okay, it's a mural. I went out of my way. Okay, so it's got fairies and flowers and all this fun stuff. It is very alive and family based. I have another room that is more calm, not that much on the walls, more muted if they need a lower sensory environment. But we're very neuroadaptive in our decor. So think about that. What's the literature? Stocking stuffer number 7. What is the literature you have on display? What is your messaging within your environment? Do you have the pathways from ICPA, the pathways magazines out there? Do you hold a pathways club? Do you have a lending library? A lending library that has cookbooks for kids, and whatever that message you want it to be. All right. I have, and we've done a show on this before, where I have patient prompting questions. So they're on the front and backs of my doors, my treatment doors, my bathroom doors, and I change those out regularly. So what is that? That is a question posed to my patients, like, do you have the blue light blues? And that is referring to the blue light from the technology. So, and I have pictures of kids on the computer, and I have different images and things like that. That's to get patients to ask me questions like, what are you talking about? The blue light blues. But that opens up that conversation for me with, what we can see sleep issues, We can see behavioral issues with kiddos. We can see a lot of spinal issues because they're on their computer all the time or on this technology. That opens up the basis for you to bring those kiddos in and educate the family on technology. So again, these are little tidbits. You do all these little things, they add up to an internal marketing educational strategy where you're going to really not need a lot of those external marketing strategies and not worrying constantly about how do you get new patients in. It becomes its own revolving door of amazing messages that brand you. Does your external marketing match your internal dialogue? Okay, it's kind of like we say about walk the talk about health, but does your external marketing and your internal marketing match? Is what you're putting out there on Facebook and Instagram and all those technological based social media outlets, is it matching your internal marketing? Okay, so what is on your walls? What's your literature? And then stocking stuffer number 8, the grand finale. When I just got through doing a consult right before I jumped on here, and I finished my consults up with an office tour. And so they get to see the whole flow of the office. They get to see that it, hopefully to them, it resonates as a warm, inviting environment for all ages and all stages. All right. I take them through the whole tour. The way my office is laid up, it's kind of like a loop. And we end up in what is my sensory gym. And then back to the front desk. Now, I was talking to an amazing person in one of my mentoring groups, and she was saying that her staff also gives a welcoming tour of the office. And, they show them where the bathrooms are, if you have a coffee or tea display area or whatever, and make them feel part of the family and invited. But she had in her sensory area, she had a massage table and like a high chair, English word. I got the German word in my head, but for adults, the stools that kind of set higher up on. Anyway, next to that. And her office staff said, this is where Dr. So-and-so does her infant exams at, because the table is good for her to get a good view and it's less cumbersome on our spines. And the patient was like, a baby exam? Yeah, Dr. X, Y, and Z works a lot with kiddos. And in this particular case, it was especially little ones after they have what we call a tongue revision. And that's one of the things that she looks at a lot. And so she can do her exam here. It's just a nice environment and easy for everybody here. And what happened? That person was pregnant. Had one little fiddle fart that had some concerns, brought that little one in, was pregnant, and was planning to bring that baby in as well. So these little things can be the big things. So just some stocking stuffers I wanted to bring to you before the end of the year. And Elizabeth was so excited to see you guys. And we want to wish you an incredible Christmas, incredible Hanukkah, New Year's, all those things, and nothing but the best in 2022. Hopefully you will put some of these into your learning environment, into your office environment, and see that you are you'll manifest the fruits of your labor, and most importantly, you're going to help give families and children more light, truth, and hope for future generations. So until we see you in January, Dr. Eric Kowalski, he gets handed off the first Thursday in January. I'll be here the third Thursday in January, and we'll have some more exciting information for you then. And again, ChiroSecure, thank you so much for helping us educate this incredible profession about the importance of our role in family and pediatric care. And as far as me and Elizabeth go, have an amazing Christmas. Bye.
Today's pediatric show, Look to the Children, was brought to you by ChiroSecure.